¿Qué tal amigos? ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos una vez más a madcripto. El día de hoy tenemos un invitado especial. Tenemos a Michael de Criptocito. Él es de Alemania originalmente, pero está viviendo en Portugal. Y él es fan de todo el ecosistema de Cosmos. Y bueno, ya sabemos que yo soy fan del ecosistema Polkadot. Y tienen varias conexiones ahí, entonces quisiera, bueno, platicar un poco con él de lo que se trata todo este ecosistema de Cosmos, que la verdad está bastante interesante. Dos blockchains que me gustan mucho de Cosmos, las conocen Terra, también Secret Network, pero bueno, se lo voy a dejar ahora sí que al especialista y habla un poco de español, amigos. Entonces, hola Michael, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido una vez más aquí.
Sí, gracias por la invitación. Y sí, o sea, yo hablo español, pero mi español es más como hablamos en la calle, como con mis amigos. Um, Casi nunca hablo sobre cripto en español, por eso es un poco difícil. Por eso, gracias para invitarme y bueno, gracias también para esa entrevista, esa conversación. El ecosistema de Cosmos es muy grande y bueno, como la de Polkadot también, pero creo que la de Cosmos es sí, un poco olvidado de la mayoría de la gente, pero bueno, podemos conversar esos temas en inglés, porque para mí es mucho más fácil en inglés bueno, gracias por tenerme.
Sí, no, encantado. Bueno, amigos, vamos a pasar a inglés, entonces échenle ganas.
Vamos.
Hi, Michael. Really nice to have you here, and really looking forward to listening some of the stuff that it's cooking up in the Cosmos ecosystem. So, first of all, I wanted to introduce you a little bit, maybe talk about how you got into crypto and how you got into Cosmos.
Yeah, so my crypto journey started in early 2017. I was just, hanging at the university back then with my best friend, and we're just figuring out like, man, what are we doing with our time? We should do something cool. And we've been digging into a lot of ways, e-commerce, ways to also make money online and those kind of things. And then one friend of ours, basically, he then told us about this Bitcoin thing. I was like, man, what is that? It's just a virtual thing. So what do you mean? But that was the first time when Bitcoin, after a couple of years, broke $1,000 again. And I'm like, man, why are people paying $1,000 for something that they can't even touch, right? For me, that was kind of like crazy to think about. But I started to dig deep into that. It got me hooked, and then took me a couple of months to really understand the monetary policy features behind Bitcoin, what impact it can have for central banking, how money works, how commercial banks work, and all these kind of things. And it's so interesting because it really got me hooked to think, okay, this can have a large impact on finance and societies in general, right? So that was my entry point. And then obviously did everything wrong in 2017, in 2018 made a lot of money, lost everything, but I sticked around and been to China as part of my study program in Shanghai in China, and that's kind of like the epicenter of blockchain development. A lot of VC money flooding into that space, a lot of like CEOs and people that you can network with. So that's where I started my like crypto career, I would say. And then from there, moved to Colombia in 2019. Por eso hablo un poco de español.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just love Latin American culture. I love the people there. Love, kind of like how social everyone is there, and they're very open and collective. So I like that. And also built communities there all over Medellin. We've been to Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Santiago de Chile, Buenos Aires. And yeah, back to Germany in 2020, which is where I'm from. And that's when I started to create content on YouTube. So that's kind of like my crypto journey. I always loved engaging and building communities. And then Cosmos was basically completely random. I think I just bought Atom a couple of, I don't know, like somewhere in probably 2019. And then in late 2019, early 2020, I was like, man, what is this Atom thing again? I have to do my research. Late 2020, actually. And then I did more research on it, dig deep into this ecosystem, IBC. This was before IBC was even live. And then developers jumped on calls with me. Jack Semplin was the first guy who was like, man, I can walk you through. And then since then, I really fell in love with the ideology to build this multi-chain future, connect all ecosystems. Polkadot is trying to do something similar, right? And they're basically also going to be connected by the end of this year. So there's a lot of cool things here. And I'm more of the, people, I think you as well, were like, man, this space is multi-chain, right? There's so many exciting projects, and it's not just one winner that takes it all and the Ethereum killer, and then everything else is going to zero, or it's just Bitcoin, everything else is a scam. I think there's a lot of good ideas and projects, and I find my path here on Cosmos, so that's why I'm focusing most of my energy on that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting project. I've been following also like a couple years, I think, not as deeply, but I've been following Cosmos. And yeah, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what it is. Is it a smart contract blockchain? Is it a only interoperability piece of the puzzle? Or what are the main functions of Cosmos? Because I know also there's an SDK, no, a Cosmos SDK, where many projects are building on this developer kit.
Yeah, so Cosmos, the original vision of Cosmos is to build the internet of blockchains, right? So when we talk about Cosmos, we don't just talk about one blockchain, we talk about many blockchains. And the goal is really to have application-specific chains that serve one purpose, right? And now you're seeing more and more of those chains going live. So this vision is actually becoming a reality. But Cosmos, like the technology behind, has different layers. The first one is Tendermint, and Tendermint is a consensus algorithm, proof of stake based. It was invented by Jay Kwan and then refined and brought into perfection maybe by Ethan Buckman. So these two guys are also the co-founders then of what became Cosmos. And this is 2014. Like when Jay started to think about, okay, the settlement in Bitcoin is too slow. He wanted to build an exchange, and like, man, I have to, kind of like start to think about something else. And out of that idea and need became Tendermint, right? So Tendermint is like the heart of Cosmos, of also all Cosmos SDK chains, right? Is Tendermint. BNB is using Tendermint as well. Luna is using Tendermint. So many public chains that people don't even know they're part of that, but in fact, Tendermint is one of the most widely adopted proof of stake based consensus algorithms, and also one of the most proven ones, right? So over a couple of years already, it's been working flawlessly, and it's super fast. It's super cheap to transact in comparison to Ethereum. So this is the base layer. Then the second thing is the Cosmos SDK, like you said, and this is basically this modular framework where developers have a tool set of things that they can use, and then they can build their customized application-specific blockchain on top. One major component of that is Cosm Wasm, which is a smart contract platform, and it's built in Rust. But I think it's going to add more languages, and there's also different variations of it coming in the next couple of months. But this is the heart of it. And you see, for example, Luna is also built on a Cosmos SDK and uses a version of that. So that's why you have all these different projects out there that are part of the Cosmos ecosystem. And then through the third layer, they all get connected. And the third layer is IBC, right? So IBC is the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, and it launched in March of this year, 2021. I think they wanted to ship it already like 2019, 2020, but you know how things are in crypto. There always delays, right? So it shipped in 2021, and then was implemented on the Cosmos Hub, which is that blockchain on which Atom is residing on, right? And the first chain that also implemented IBC, and then that made the first IBC transaction, was IrisNet. So IrisNet is kind of like the Chinese version of the Cosmos Hub. They have a dedicated team in China, and they have different use cases for it. So it's a bit different, slightly modified, but it's basically the same technology stack. And that was the birth of IBC. And IBC has been laying around for a couple of months. People have tested it, play around with it on real world circumstances. And then Osmosis was the first killer application. It's an application specific automated market maker, right? Like Uniswap or Balancer or those kind of things. But it implements IBC natively. And that means you can trade sovereign blockchains with each other, right? So that's the revolution here. And there's nothing like this anywhere else. So yeah, that's why. So those are the layers, you know, Tendermint, the bottom, the Cosmos SDK, IBC, and then on top you have now chains that are, you know, in the NFT space, in DeFi, and all these kind of like use cases, and applying all these technologies and bring it all together.
Sounds really complex, but full of opportunities. So Atom, the coin is running on Cosmos Hub.
Yeah.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you, what's the main purpose of the Atom token? What are the functions?
Yeah, so far, there's only two main things I would say. The first thing is security, right? It's a proof of stake chain, which means that you have to buy and stake the coin in order to secure the network, right? And the more value is staked, the secure the network, and the harder it is to kind of like 51% attack and take over the network. So that's the main use case. And the second one I would say is governance, right? So you can propose changes to the network and people can vote on it. You're actually having a DAO, right? So the Cosmos Hub is basically more and more becoming a DAO. And I think that's also the equivalent of saying we're building the internet of blockchains. It's also saying we're building the internet of DAOs, right? So those are the two main use cases. Obviously, besides that, you also have, you know, you can transfer value faster than Bitcoin, for example. And to be honest, the most kind of like real use case for Atom is obviously speculation, right? So people are just buying Atom because they think it's going to go up, like with every cryptocurrency, right? So those are the main use cases for now. But there's so much coming. And this is why I think also for me, you know, I think that's why the whole ecosystem, and especially Cosmos and Atom, is so much underrated, because there's so much coming, right? You talk a lot about Polkadot, and the difference that Polkadot has with Cosmos is that Polkadot started with shared security, right? So in Polkadot and Kusama, you have the relay chain, and this relay chain only serves as a security source for parachains, right? So what parachain candidates have to do, they have to participate in these auctions through DOT or KSM in that case, purchase large amounts, basically through the community, obviously, they're voting on this. And then these coins are locked up, right? Which drives immense organic demand for the coins. And then these parachains have access to the security on the relay chain. Now in Cosmos, they started on the entire other end of the spectrum. They didn't start with shared security. Instead, they said, okay, we roll out the SDK, we roll out Tendermint, and we make it free for everybody to, you know, build upon. And we incentivize everybody also to build their own security network, right? So you see every chain right now in Cosmos, Terra, Osmosis, Region Network, they all have their own validators and their own pools, right? That are verifying transactions and validating blocks. But we're at a point right now, I think, where you see more and more interest in IBC, in the Cosmos SDK and the whole technology, that it makes sense now to implement shared security on the Cosmos Hub, which is the chain on which Atom is residing, and then say, okay, maybe to a similar kind of like auction model like you have on Polkadot and Kusama, but maybe in a different variation of it, you also have organic demand for Atoms to get security from the Cosmos Hub, which is right now at around $10 billion, right? So that's pretty secure compared to other chains, for example. So this is one thing that's coming that I'm really, really excited about. Another thing is that is also coming. There's actually a proposal right now on the Cosmos Hub, proposal 56, is that you can optionally or basically natively integrate IBC incentives or route IBC transactions through the Cosmos Hub, right? So IBC is this technology that bridges transactions and on two blockchains. And in the future, potentially, you could also have another use case for Atom to incentivize IBC transactions through the Cosmos Hub, which would mean that the more adoption IBC gets, the more potential value accrued is for Atom. So those are a lot of cool things where I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. You know, if this comes and gets implemented and finds adoption, and we already have proof that there's strong product market fit for the Cosmos Hub and for the technology, then yeah, that's a no-brainer for me, and I'm really excited to see that come live.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool thing of crypto. It's upgrading all the time, and you don't know where it's gonna be in 5 years. So yeah, the functions of the token can change with time, and that's a good thing that it has a governance integrated on chain. That's really useful in my point of view. But I wanted to ask you, so there's no limit to how many chains can communicate through the IBC? For example,
No,
like in
no.
Polkadot, supposedly there's 100 parachains. How about Cosmos?
Yeah, there's no limit in IBC. It's open. But the thing is, with IBC, you're not getting the security from the Cosmos Hub, right? So this is the thing, I think, why in Polkadot it's limited, that you have only limited space to share security with, and you don't want to have too much of that. But I'm not an expert on that, so I don't know in detail. But IBC is limitless, so everybody can implement it, and we're seeing right now a lot of projects are actually implementing it. Terra is coming, and they're bringing UST, Anchor, Mirror, all their projects on top of Terra into Cosmos, Emirates, Gravity DEX, Osmosis, you know, all these Cosmos DeFi applications. Then you have Band Protocol. They just announced they're going to implement IBC. At least they're going to make a governance proposal for it. Then you have Torchain implementing IBC. Harmony One, they have currently a bounty program where they're trying to find out ways to implement IBC on Harmony. So there's so many things coming. And also, Jack Zempolin, who's one of the co-developers at Cosmos, he told on an interview with me that by the end of the year, there's also going to be substrate compatibility. So you could actually connect any Polkadot or Kusama chain with the Cosmos ecosystem. And that's a killer thing. I mean, that's going to be huge. And then imagine you have DOT as an IBC compatible asset that you can trade on Cosmos dexes. I mean, that's so cool, right? So I'm really looking forward to that whole internet of blockchains being kind of like revealed.
Yeah, it's gonna get complex, and interchain web, it's gonna be pretty amazing. I think one of the things that is missing in crypto is like maybe a universal wallet that just switches the coins by itself. And I think the experience is gonna get much better, and that's how I know we're still really early. And you mentioned a lot of projects right now. I wanted to ask you, what are some of your favorite or the most interesting projects? Because you said Osmosis. Is Osmosis built on Cosmos Hub, or is it its own chain? Can you tell us like some projects built on Cosmos Hub and some of the blockchains that are part of the Cosmos Galaxy?
Yeah, so right now there's no project built on top of the Cosmos Hub because it doesn't have shared security yet, right? Or at least it's not connected to the Cosmos Hub through shared security. But Cosmos Hub itself, they have something now, they're forked into it, which is the Gravity DEX. So, I mean, you could technically say it's on top of Cosmos Hub, but it's part of it. So it got forked into the code base. And the Gravity DEX is an automated market maker, beautiful design, accessible through Emirates.com. Emirates is a DeFi front-end dashboard that gives access to a lot of coins and access to a lot of dApps in the Cosmos ecosystem. And they also, like you were just saying, you know, you have just one front end where you can trade all these coins and you can also hold all these coins. So Amaris is trying to become that. This is really cool. That's on the Cosmos Hub. And then Osmosis is my second favorite project in the Cosmoverse, but it's its own chain, right? So it's its own blockchain. It's basically designed and created by Cosmos Core developers like Sunny Agarwal, Josh Lee, and a couple of others. So these guys are Cosmos OGs. And Osmosis is, man, this is the best kept secret in crypto, I think. It's an AMM, and it's very community focused, I would say, because they didn't raise any VC money. So there's no VCs, there's no early investors. Most of the supply was airdropped and it's currently being farmed, right? So there was a giant airdrop for Atom holders with free Osmo. And for some people, they made 2 months of salary with this one airdrop, right? It was even bigger than the Uniswap airdrop back then. So this was cool. And then the second thing is 45%, I think, of the tokens in Osmosis are dedicated for liquidity mining. And then I don't know the exact number, like 20% or something is for staking rewards. So that's why, you know, we're still early. This is all experimental and everybody has to be careful with those things, right? But the staking rewards and APYs on Osmosis for providing liquidity are like 200% or something crazy, right? So a lot of people are making crazy passive income right now. A lot of early cosmonauts. And yeah, that's a really cool DeFi application. But I think once Terra comes with UST and we see other stable coins, then the rewards will go down, you know, because then more people join and the more money is in those pools, the less APY will be for the users. So this is one, but there's some others, man. Like there's one maybe that I like a lot, is called Region Network. And they're basically building a carbon credit marketplace where you connect farms and ranches around the world directly with either individuals or companies, right? They have to kind of like push to carbon neutrality, and Region Network helps to accelerate that. So this is really cool. Another one is Persistence. Not sure if you heard of that one, XPRT. So Persistence, very, very smart team based out of India. You know, there's good projects in India, like also Polygon, you know, and others. But the Persistence guys, what they're focused on is liquid staking. So one of the things right now on Atom is that if you stake your Atom, you can't do much with them, right? They're just locked. You earn nice rewards, 10% APY for staking it, but you can't move them, right? And if you want to unstake, you have 21 days in which you don't earn rewards and you can't liquidate it, right? So Persistence comes in and fixes that, because you can stake through the P-Stake platform, which is, you know, the front end there, and then your atoms get natively staked on the Cosmos Hub, but then you get an ERC20 representation that you can then use in Ethereum DeFi, right? So this is a killer application, really, really cool. And we'll see more of those liquid staking variations coming also for Atom. So yeah, those would be my top projects. Cosmos Hub, obviously, with Atom, Osmosis, Region Network, and Persistence. Those are my top 4.
So those projects would be like projects, those are all their own blockchains, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But I mean, I mentioned earlier about shared security coming to Cosmos, and it's probably coming Q1 next year. So that's a big thing, you know, it takes time to kind of like mature.
Yeah.
But once it comes, projects like Osmosis or projects like Region, you know, that don't have $10 billion security backing the system, they could say, hey, maybe we migrate parts of our project to the Cosmos Hub, and we have this kind of like layered security. And then they can borrow security from the Cosmos Hub and just make their own chain more secure. So I think in the future, we'll see potentially either already established chains connecting to the hub through shared security, or new chains that are like, man, we don't want to set up validators, you know, let's just borrow some borrow security from the hub, and boom, you know, we can start our project. So I think it's very elastic and very democratic in that sense.
Nice. Yeah, it's really really interesting, this Cosmoverse, like you said. And I wanted to ask you, since you talked about an airdrop of osmosis, right?
Yeah.
Do the holders of Atom receive a lot of airdrops, or is this one of the first? Or
It was the first one. If I think it was the first one. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty new to Cosmos. I just joined this year, but I think it was the first one. And there's a couple of others. I made a video about this actually. Went really viral. And there's a lot of airdrops for Atom holders in the pipeline. You know, now that you see the whole ecosystem coming to life, a lot of projects want to build on Cosmos and to bootstrap users and liquidity. The best thing you can do is you can reward people that are already, you know, target users. And in that case, it's Atom holders. So Gnoland is the first one that I'm mostly excited about. It's a project by the original founder of Tendermint, Jay Kwon. So he has a new smart contract platform that is called Gnoland. And he said he's going to make a future airdrop, a future snapshot for Atom holders. So that's going to be airdropped. Ethermint is an EVM compatible blockchain on the Cosmos network. They're also going to make potentially an airdrop for Atom holders. They haven't revealed details yet, but most likely it's going to be an airdrop for Atom holders. And then there's many others, like Sommelier Finance potentially is going to do one. Omniflix is going live. Bitsong, the CEO himself, confirmed, you know, to allocate part of the supply for Atom holders. So there's like 10 plus airdrops coming up in the next couple of months, probably.
Nice. I think people like that, so that can incentivize people to go to the Cosmos universe.
Yeah.
What do you think is missing for more adoption of Cosmos?
That's a very good question. I think, to be honest, what was really missing is social media activity, right? I think that's why, like, I was kind of like one of the first ones to cover Cosmos and to get everyone, you know, on YouTube and to have everybody share their journey and talk about what they're doing. And now I'm seeing more and more people are actually interested in also covering it. So, you know, something like what you do for Polkadot, there's not many people that do that for Cosmos. And obviously, you know, if Atom would go back to the top 15 or top 10, you know, people get excited and then everybody's talking about it. But I think that organic, you know, public activity, social media buzz, I think that has been missing, but I think it's coming. And another thing, the second thing is what I would say is that people are not really aware what the Cosmos Hub actually is and what is the value proposition of the Cosmos Hub. That's why I think, you know, things like shared security and IBC relayer incentives, they could change that, because then you have a huge chunk of organic demand for Atom, and that would also drive a lot of engagement and a lot of, you know, activity, which might be also something interesting for VCs, right? I mean, if you look at Cardano, Solana, Avalanche, Terra, right? They're pretty strong and big because they also have very strong backers and a lot of, you know, VC money that help them to push them a bit further. I think on Cosmos that's also a bit lacking, especially on Atom and Cosmos Hub. But yeah, we might see this change over the next couple of months. So I think right now we're actually on a very good train here with that.
And you talked about investors. Are there any big fishes behind Cosmos, or not as much as other projects?
I think Paradigm is the biggest one.
Okay.
Paradigm, but they did a fundraiser in 2017 through the Interchain Foundation. So the Interchain Foundation is holding, I think, but I'm not 100% sure, that they're holding the fundraiser, you know, that they made back then. They raised $17 million, I think. And then that was early 2017 when Bitcoin was like a few $100 and Ethereum was like $40. And then they had very smart treasury management that in early 2018, they sold half of that fundraiser for like $500 million or something. Oh, so they're pretty well funded on that end. But I think Paradigm is a big VC. They're also running a node. And yeah, I think that's something that other bigger VCs should maybe, you know, do their research on. And I think they will stumble upon it, because as Cosmos gains more adoption, VCs are going to take note of that, and then maybe build up positions in Atom, right? And maybe even institutional DeFi. I got approached by an investor recently who asked me like, hey man, you know, you're doing all these Cosmos DeFi things and osmosis. Why don't you think about building something for institutions, you know, so they can invest through custodial solutions into Cosmos DeFi? And I think we will see more and more of these things, like we're seeing on Ethereum, right? Aave has launched something, Aave Pro or something, which is specifically designed for institutions. So I could potentially see the DeFi applications really push Cosmos and Atom and all the other chains, you know, in the spotlight, and then also drag a lot of VCs and eyeballs into the ecosystem.
Well, that's definitely an opportunity. There's not many big VCs behind, because they have to buy on a market price or an OTC, but it's a huge pressure for the price, I think, if we're focusing on that. And you mentioned Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. I wanted to ask you, how do they integrate into the Cosmoverse? Is there blockchains that are bridges, or how does that work?
So the first, let's start with Ethereum. The first bridge between Ethereum and Cosmos was through SwiftChain. So SwiftChain, they have built a variation of Peggy. That was an idea back then to bridge EVM and Cosmos and Tendermint. And it's actually working. I played around with it. It's pretty cool. So that's the first mover. But then on top of that, we'll have the Gravity Bridge, which is designed by the guys from Althea and also Tendermint. And this is going to be forked in also on the Cosmos Hub. So you will be able to soon, I think in October, November maybe, to have EVM or Ethereum compatibility through Gravity Bridge with Atom, right? So it's pretty cool. And you can do so many DeFi things, cross-chain DeFi with your Atoms. This is coming. And there's also a couple of chains, you know, like Injective Protocol, Sommelier Finance. Sommelier actually tries to bridge Uniswap liquidity with Cosmos, also with an implementation of Gravity Bridge. Then you have Ethermint. They are also going to launch a Cosmos chain that is compatible with Ethereum. So there's a lot of things on Ethereum happening. And then on the Bitcoin side, I think this was actually announced 2 weeks ago or something, that there's some team, I forgot the name, C4 or something, they're building a Bitcoin bridge. And this could be really, really exciting to build a trustless, decentralized bridge. Because I think what most people have to understand, like, sure, you already have wrapped Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's like, why do you talk about bridges? But yeah, most bridges that we have right now are custodian, right? So in wrapped Bitcoin, you have a company that holds your keys, right? In between, like when you do the bridging, there's billions of dollars of assets sitting in these bridges, and they're holding custody of these assets. So that's a bit not really optimal. And the Cosmos folks try to fix that with trustless bridges, where the validators are in charge of, you know, verifying the balances on each chain. And I think that's the way to go. So, but a big challenge here, and that's also, I think, why it takes so long, is because you have to bridge 2 consensus algorithms, right? That's like proof of work with proof of stake. And then, like, you know, those different algorithms. It's really hard thing to do, but I'm looking forward. And I think they're going to deliver this also, like maybe next year or something, the Bitcoin bridge and Dogecoin and those kind of things. So yeah, that's the current stage here.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. It's a complex job to do a trustless bridge, and it's something that's really missing. And you mentioned also RUNE before. Is RUNE part of the Cosmos universe? Because it has some of these things, no? You can exchange tokens on chain without trusting anyone.
Yeah, so TorChain is also part of it's built on the Cosmos SDK, and they're now implementing IBC as well. But obviously now with this, they had like 3 or 4 hacks, right, where they had the bug. So this pushed them a little bit behind. I'm not 100% up to date where they're standing right now, but I think they obviously have a big user base, a large community. So I think that can drag even more eyeballs on IBC. And yeah, this is coming. So yeah, it's also part of the Cosmos family.
Okay, and I'm gonna bother you with 2 more questions before we wrap up. I wanted to ask you which region of the world you think is more focused on Cosmos. Is it really strong in China or what do you think?
So I think it's more so a lot of people from Tendermint are in Europe. So it's, similar to Parity. Tendermint has also a lot of people that are based in Berlin. Also some Italian people I've seen and I talked to. So Europe, they have a strong presence here. A lot of them actually, I think, work also remote, especially like the marketers and the content team. But then I know the CEO of Tendermint, he's in Toronto, I think. Yeah, he's in Toronto in Canada. And Ethan Buckman, the co-founder, is also in Toronto. So they have a strong Canada presence. I think also some people in the US, like Jack Sampolin, he's in the US, Sakimanian, Sunny Agarwal, like they're all like US, Canada. Okay. And then in China, you have IrisNet, right? So I think that was a couple of years ago, a decision they made like, hey, instead of just, have Cosmos conquer the whole world, let's have versions of the Cosmos Hub geographically dedicated for those regions, right? And IrisNet is kind of like the Chinese version of the Cosmos Hub, but they have now refined that for use cases that are in China, right? So we're talking about compliance, right? China is very strict with those things. So Iris is more of a Chinese version. And I think actually in Korea, there should also be a big user base. I talked to somebody recently, an investor. He kind of like also loves Cosmos and the IBC and all that. But obviously in Korea, I think Terra is predominant, right? Which is also Cosmos project, but it's not like Atom and Cosmos Hub. So yeah, you've seen global exposure, but I think for the Cosmos Hub itself and Atom has the most exposure in Europe and in kind of like Northern America, I would say.
Okay. And we've been focusing a lot on DeFi in this interview. So I wanted to ask you about the current trends, NFTs and play-to-earn blockchain games. What do you see in this Cosmos universe about that?
Yeah, so the interesting thing about Cosmos is like they're trying to always approach things from this multi-chain vision, right? And this also applies for NFTs. So imagine you have an IBC compatible NFT standard so that you can send NFTs cross-chain, right? That's pretty cool. And I know there's a couple of people working on this. The Tendermint guys, they also have a head of NFTs or something. I have to I don't know the exact title of his position, but he's building an NFT platform. I think Pylons Tech is the name of the NFT marketplace they're building. And then there's some other stuff, Uptick Network or Uptick Project, I think it's called, is running on top of IrisNet. And it's a big NFT marketplace. I think it's getting more and more adoption. So this one is pretty good. And regarding the gaming thing, there's actually one project called Strange Clan. They just launched their first characters, and it's a game. I'm not a big gamer, so I'm not deeply into that, but I think it's pretty cool because they have these villages, and you have a character, and then you can do things, and like a lot of gamification in there, kind of like a virtual reality thing. So this is already there, and it's part of a broader project called Passage 3. And these guys are trying to basically build a metaverse on Cosmos. So this is in the works, but yeah, it's not as obviously not as big as on Ethereum, right? Ethereum is leaps ahead, but more and more things are coming on Cosmos.
Yeah, looking forward to see what other chains build, because Ethereum is unusable for many things at the moment, at least. So yeah, NFT is really popular. I think it's gonna be huge in mainstream culture. So looking forward what's built on that on every blockchain, not only on Ethereum or Cosmos. So well, I appreciate your time, and I wanted to wrap up and maybe ask you first, where can we find you? I know you have a YouTube channel. We're gonna leave in the description, but what other social media are you in? And maybe do you have some alpha, some secret info, or something to get us excited about Cosmos?
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, Cryptocito, and also on Telegram. If you want to send me a message, I also have a group, Cryptocitos_friends. And on Twitter, I love Twitter as well. I think it's the best place to get some alpha leaks there. Yeah, I mean, I think I already dropped some. Like the biggest thing is there's a bunch of airdrops coming for Atom holders. Mm-hmm. And the next biggest thing is Osmosis. Osmosis is an absolute alpha leak. There's so much, potential there for people to generate passive income. And it's just crazy, man. Obviously, always take care with that, right? It's experimental early stage technology. But yeah, it's great, product. And yeah, other than that, thank you for having me on. It's amazing. Also love what you do, and the Latin American community is on fire. So yeah, really excited to be here and to do this more in the future again, hopefully.
For sure. And we might see each other in Portugal in some conference that are going down at Lisbon, Cosmos, Solana.
That's probably the biggest alpha league. Yeah, for everybody who is in Europe, please check out our Cosmos conference on cosmoverse.org. You can already sign up for the early bird tickets. This was very spontaneously over the past 2 weeks. And now it's actually a reality, right? And the Cosmos community is on fire. There's already like 160 people in the Telegram group. So yeah, it would be awesome to have you here as well, and also your community. And yeah, it would be cool to unite and see everyone here November 5th in Lisbon, Portugal.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing, and I'm looking forward to exploring more of the Cosmos universe.
Excelente. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Michael. Take care.
Take care, man.